This week on the Organized Life podcast.
The only time we struggle is when we feel disconnected,
Yes, and alone.
disconnected from ourselves, disconnected
Mm-hmm.
from others.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I think it's a bit of a silent epidemic these
Mm.
days. Like the current, um,
Well, COVID showed us that.
yeah, yeah. Like we've never lived in an age where we can be all together, but then completely isolated.
Ugh.
I don't envy the kids growing up these days that can have access to self-isolating phones. Your vision only goes maybe as far as your hand.
Yeah.
You're not expanding your vision, expanding your
No.
connections. Isolate and conquer. And if you really want to go, I'm obviously ex-military. I see things from military precision and planning.
Absolutely.
Um, Rome didn't conquer the world with its military. Yes, it had a strong military. Rome conquered the world with its roads.
Hey, and welcome to the Organized Life podcast, where we are creating a movement with powerful organizing strategies and systems that save you space, time, energy, and money. I am your host, Tequila Renee, the life organizing strategist, professional organizer, and the owner of the Organized Life headquarters. Ooh, I'm super excited to announce that. As you know, if you've been with me for a while, you know that I have been Extreme Audacity Organized Solutions for many years, 9.5 years. And I just recently rebranded to the Organized Life headquarters because that's what we do here. We create the organized life. So my coaching business is the Organized Life headquarters. My in-person business, when I'm going into people's homes, I am taking the Organized Life headquarters with me to houses. And here we are on the Organized Life podcast. And I have my special guest, Tim Thomas. Tim, welcome.
Great to be here, Tequila.
I'm super excited to have you and to have this conversation. For those of us that are just meeting you, that have no clue where you come from, where you live, where you are, please share a little bit about of who you are and how you got in your field of expertise.
Sure. Well, you could probably tell by my accent. I'm from Mississippi. No.
Wait a minute now.
No, and it's not an English accent. It's an Australian accent. Some people think we sound the same. No. Look, in a previous life, I was in the Australian Special Forces. And before that, I was a professional fighter in the early days
Mm-hmm.
of mixed martial arts. And I have spent the last decade helping veterans and first responders organize their life post-service. So
Yeah.
dealing with a lot of physical injuries, dealing with a lot of mental injuries, and helping them get to the point where they can bring their gifts into the world. Because my stand for people is for them to be the best versions of themselves and bring their gifts into the world. And we found in the last decade there's some very effective ways to do that, and that's what I've been doing.
Yeah, I love your work. When I was reading up on it, I was like, this is amazing. Because a lot of us we get stuck when we go through some traumatic events and we don't know how to push past it. And I love that you're helping people to push past that. So kudos to you. Thank you for your service and yeah, thank you for your work.
It's good to be of service, and this is what I found. The veterans and first responders, look, the humans I work with are those who want to serve, create
Mm-hmm.
more than what is, leave the world in a better place, leave people in a better place than what they found them. Um, and there's a real sequence that, if you follow that, it's quite easy to be in that place. It's a sequence that I went through myself, and then I just helped apply it to others. Similar to the work you've done. You've found something that actually works. And if it
Mm-hmm.
actually works, then the next question is, then how do we give other people access to it? The thing that took you
Yeah.
10 years to figure out, Tequila, how do we give that to others in sometimes one conversation? Because this is what, I don't have the time or passion or capacity to do what you do. But if I hang out with you, you can help me get to a pretty bloody good standard
Mm-hmm.
in time that you could save me years. Spending time with you could save me years. And that's like, to me, a real human superpower. Imagine one conversation with you saving me 10 years of my life and all the things I would have had to fumble through and try and figure out and all that sort of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So this has nothing to do with nothing, but it's this Australian guy that I follow on social media, and he uses the word bloody all the time. You just used it, and it tickled me so bad. Um, that has nothing to do with this conversation. I just love talking to people or listening to people talk that's from Australia and the different. We have different little angst that we say, right? Little things that we use. And one of his is just he's always saying bloody something or whatever, and it
He, he
means
probably
something.
he probably says bloody oath, mate.
Yeah,
That's
yeah. He says it in so many. He uses it in so many different capacities, and it always fits.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Back to the podcast, you guys. So, if you are here and you're the Organized Life listeners, what if the reason your life is feels disorganized isn't just about your schedule or your space, but it's what's happening while you sleep? If that intrigues you, that's what this conversation is about today. Um, when you think about the organized life, Tim, tell me what comes to mind for you.
Well, an organized house, the space you live in, and that allows you to think, right? And when I saw what you were doing on the outside, I'm like, oh, the outside world is often a reflection of the inside, and it's great to organize the outside. In the military, we had to be super organized, and in fact, if you ever want to punch above your weight and connect to others, you need a certain organizational structure around you
Yeah.
that people can connect with, whatever that looks like, right? And in the military, this organized awareness allowed 100 humans to act like one, and there's that in a super powerful way. So when you're in it, you're like, why the hell do I need my socks turned like this, and why the hell do I need to have my pajamas on the right side? Why do I need my kit organized like this? But then when there's 100 people doing the thing, and then you can step back and go, whoa, this is why we needed all these small things sorted out, so the big things could happen with a certain ease and grace.
Yeah.
And what I saw with your podcast, I'm like, well, the people that listen to Tequila, they want a sense of structure around them, a sense of organization, because they know that that's how it flows. And my work over the last decade has been essentially helping people organize their nervous system. They've had a cluttered nervous system. They've had a blocked up nervous system. And when you get down to it, think of your brain like a house, and imagine if, and this is probably going to sound gross, imagine if you couldn't flush the toilet. Okay, everything would be impacted.
My
Everything.
Lord.
Okay, right.
Yes.
Well, this is the problem with sleep. When we sleep, and it's quality rest, you have to understand our body, we eat food and we go to the bathroom, right?
Yeah.
We create energy, we create waste. Your brain creates a lot of energy and creates a lot of waste. And when we sleep, the spinal fluid comes up through our spine, goes into our skull, circulates around the brain, and the brain sits in what's called a blood-brain barrier. And it pulls out all the waste. So if you're not sleeping properly, it's like you're not flushing the toilet. And if you wake up feeling crappy, then there's a reason for that. If that crappy feeling follows you around, in the daytime, then there's a very good reason for that. And that crappy feeling will have us buying, shut up until I've had a coffee. Give me that energy drink. It'll have you eating more. It'll have you looking at problems in others instead of possibilities. It'll have you being irritable, overreactive, harsh on your loved ones.
Yeah.
And there's all these problems that happen downstream of good sleep. So those people that struggle to sleep, and they're powerful humans, so they struggle on, but then they start having problems in their physical health. They start having problems in their mental health.
Yeah.
And they often get lost in all the symptoms downstream of poor sleep. And what I do is I'll go upstream, fix the sleep naturally and immediately, and then all of a sudden all these downstream problems with physical and mental health increase incrementally, as in heal, reduce the symptoms of. And I've sort of been known in the veteran space as somebody who could do far more with far less resources, because I understand where the blockages are.
So talk about somebody being hangry. That does not bother me. Being sleep deprived, oh, you want to irritate me? Like, you want me to be irritated? Deny me some sleep. Like, I go to bed. I do not work well when I'm tired. And not just physically tired, but like more sleepy. Because I can push through the physical tiredness, but the sleepy, like my eyes get weird, like my vision is blurred. I feel dizzy. Like I don't get hangry, but if I don't even know if there's a word for sleepy, that's similar to hangry, but that's me. I will get so irritated. I don't want to talk to anybody. Don't bother me. Leave me alone, type of thing. Because sleep is super important for me. I can not eat like for a long period of time, but I gotta get some sleep.
And what you said there, Tequila, is one of the reasons why at war the enemy always tries to deprive the other side of sleep. So when we were in Afghanistan, most of our operations was to attack the enemy's sleep. We didn't know about the science of sleep. We just knew if we could take it out for 3 nights, it would mess them up better than a bullet. And so, if someone was your enemy, if you wanted someone wanted to destroy us, they would destroy our sleep. And these days, Tequila, I actually say, if you care about somebody, you'll care about their sleep.
Yeah.
And that makes sense, right? But let's ask this question honestly, and it can be quite shocking. Of all the people we care about and all the acts of care that we've shown others, when have we done things to ensure that they get a really good night's sleep?
Yeah.
It's this thing that we all just take for granted. And there's this cultural acceptance of poor sleep. We almost,
Yes.
praise up people. Oh, I had 4 hours sleep. I had a coffee. What's your excuse? Yeah, good for you. Look at that hero. He's eating 10 buckets of crap each day and he's smiling. And somehow that is the formula of success. So I've got to sleep deprive myself. And when you're sleep deprived, you start believing dumb shit like that.
Yeah. It's so true. It's so true. What was I about to say? When you think about that, the culture has made it to where that's a thing to be, being sleep deprived. I pride myself on like making great meals for my family, but I've never thought about like making sure they get enough rest. Like, I don't care what time you go to bed. That's on you. Okay?
Yeah.
But I will cook up a great meal, make sure they have some great food. I'm always doing that, but I've never thought about how they're sleeping.
it's a blind spot that everyone has. But here's the thing: if you can be in that very few percentile that has an awareness around this and can access those states, then one of the greatest gifts I believe you can give any human is the awareness that our state of being is impacted greatly by two golden 5-minute periods. The 5 minutes going to sleep and the 5 minutes waking up. Most people unconsciously poison both. We just kind of think it's normal human behavior, right?
Yeah.
But this is the thing that I've had to work with in the veteran space. It became very aware to me when people had a nervous system that was hijacked, they couldn't downregulate. They hated their beds because as they were trying to sleep, they had to switch off all their threat radars. And the threat radars is like, no, don't switch us off. Something bad's going to happen. It's going to be your fault. And so guess what? They're not sleeping, which then compounds the problem of, I feel crappy. I hate everybody. Everybody's wrong. I'm right. I'll withdraw. I'll be angry and justified because it's you making me angry.
Yeah.
There's all these downstream effects. So, and I will say this. Once, if you can be the person that pays attention to sleep and can give people the peace, the connection, the calmness, the power, the safety, going to sleep, and then the reconnection in the mornings, the reconnections, the removal of all those blocked energy, because we wake up, we've been still for a period of time, and put the good stuff in the first 5 minutes. It's a small window of time, but there's a massive change of state, And that, to me, then leads into, well, if I'm going to have an organized life, I need to win the nighttime if I'm going to win the day. Because so many people out there are saying, oh, do this more in the day, do this more. We're going to wring the life out of the day. You've got to put more branches in the sun. Don't let the sun go down. Burn your branches off. Come on. So me, because I've seen the end path of, never letting the sun go down, always work hard, grind away. I've seen the results of that. It showed up in these guys' nervous system. And these were hard workers, right? But they didn't know how to down-regulate, give themselves peace, connection, safety at night, flush the toilet that was backing up over the years, and then once you actually did that and they got organized underneath their own skin and their sleep was improved, it's like their inner compass switched on. They knew what they were supposed to do next, their executive function. So, fight or flight, that's your amygdala part of your brain.
Yeah.
There's a time and a place for it, but it's really fast and dumb, right?
Yeah.
And it will burn you out if you're always in it. But then your prefrontal cortex, that's your executive function. That's like a satellite in the sky. You can see it all. You can be with it all. And you've got your peace because you're safe and you're powerful. And I give this to me. No one else does, right? But if we're in our amygdala, if we're in our fight or flight, I'll give a classic example of that if you want a lived experience. So resources start to seem scarce, right? It's like people are standing around a table. They see one cake and there's, so many people and there's only one cake and I've got to, make sure I get my piece of cake and I've got to outplay that guy. And this guy took too much last week and I'm really angry at that. But if that's prefrontal cortex, right? Yeah. And there's a time and a place to be competitive. I don't mind that. But, that's amygdala. That's your fight or flight. But if you actually, you're banking the good sleep, you're getting your executive function, you're in your prefrontal cortex, it's like, you know what? I can make my own cake. Yeah. I can make as many cakes as I want. You know what? I can make as many cakes and I can invite a bunch of these guys to come over and have some cake. I can show them how to do it too.
That's true.
So if you want to go down a small rabbit warren here, all mainstream media wants to put you in your amygdala, into your fight or flight. Resources are scarce. Someone's getting more than you. You're not getting a fair deal. You should be outraged. This is all the wrong things. Why aren't you more angry, right? And they do that because they've figured out that the amygdala is a very powerful thing, and it fatigues you. And then when you're fatigued, you just end up not making any executive choices, like seeing that, oh, this is
Yeah.
crap. Why am I letting this through my eyeballs?
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So I think I went down a bit of a rabbit warren there, but I hope that sort of helps people see.
No, it made so much sense. It made so much sense. I was right there with you. Especially when you started talking about this was part of the earlier thing that you were saying during that just brief conversation. I talk to my clients about starting their today yesterday. Start your tomorrow today, right? Start your next week this week, right? Because that helps you with your decision fatigue. That helps you with the planning of your day, of your, looking ahead to see what is it that I have to do tomorrow, right? Instead of waking up in the morning and scrambling, oh, I got a meeting, let me prepare for it. This call today I prepared for it yesterday, right? So it's so important to me to make sure I'm prepared because I don't like feeling unprepared. I don't like what that does to me. And I'm not calm. I'm not, because even in like I had a long day today. And if I had to scramble before this call, I wouldn't have been able to push it up. Right? Like you gave me the honor of pushing our call up a little bit, but I could do that because I was already prepared. Right? So I hopped from one thing to another because I was prepared. And when you are prepared, you just feel so much more confident, more powerful, right? You just don't feel all antsy and all the other things that comes along with not being prepared.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and I can really hear. Some people call it personality. I think the right term for it is archetype. So the way you're talking, that's displaying what's called sovereign king energy,
Mm.
where and a benevolent king will make the kingdom flourish,
Mm.
and because they create the structure within it. Um, and I wager people listening to this would be of that same sort of sovereign energy where their goal, because they're really doing all this so everyone else can have the best, most flourishing life ever. And
Mm-hmm.
they don't like dishonesty. They like a plan. They
Yeah.
love it when a plan comes together because
Yes.
really it's about those people. It's not about me. It's about you guys.
Yes.
I'm doing all this
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Don't you know I suffer for you? You know.
Yeah. That's right. Yes. Yeah. So, Tim, you've worked with veterans dealing with PTSD, chronic pain, recovering from all kinds of things. What did that experience teach you about the connection between sleep and our overall performance?
Well, I'll talk to you about what pain taught me because this was the big one. This is the watershed moment. Um, and I'm dyslexic. See things in patterns, right? And I
So
can
do
see
I.
yeah, I love it, right? And I can see, you've got sovereign, organized energy, but my part of my archetype is magician. So I can make something out of nothing. So
Yeah.
even though when you said, can you bring it half an hour forward? When I got that, I am covered in sweat coming out of the sauna. I'm completely not ready for anything, but I'm like, you know what? I'm going to make this happen because I'm a
Oh,
magician,
yeah.
right? And
Yes.
and I will trust the process. I'll trust my body. But let's say you said, hey Tim, I need you to do 10 things a certain way, then I would be like, no, that doesn't resonate. But you said, here's a timeline. Can you make it? I'm like, yes, I will.
Yes.
You know.
Yes.
Uh, but to speak to the pattern of pain, and this is huge, and this is not seen on any spreadsheet. I discovered that it doesn't matter if the pain's emotional or physical. Doesn't matter if you're male or female, veteran, civilian. It gets to a certain duration or intensity to killer, where
Mm-hmm.
it transforms without the person even knowing it,
Mm.
into loneliness,
Mm.
isolation. I am the only one going through this.
Yeah.
And if you get the gravity of that and contrast it with the fact that us humans, we're built for connection. We connect naturally. It's the most natural thing we do. I put it to you, consider the possibility that our peace, power, happiness, love is relative to how connected we feel,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And so if you shut all of them off and you're feeling lonely, you're not connected to anybody, you don't know who to
Mm-hmm.
trust, no one's
Yeah.
got your back, everything's a threat because everything is a
Yes.
threat.
Yes.
You know, this is the point where what happens, and this is we saw this time and time again, in that state of loneliness, there's things you really want to say, but you can't say. For a number of reasons. It could be that you don't want to burden others because this is a heavy enough burden. Why would I want to burden those people I care
Yeah.
about? And for other reasons, like people will never understand. I've tried talking about it
Mm-hmm.
before and it
Yep.
just didn't work.
Yep.
And another reason could be that they're self-isolating. In my isolation, I can justify everything. Okay, I can be right all the time.
Yes.
All right. Um, but if somebody has gone through what you've gone through and they can speak the words that you can't say, and it could just be the experience, like when I felt all alone and no one understood, it's like there was rocks around my heart and I felt this heaviness and I couldn't feel anything. And I used to pour a lot of alcohol and pills over those rocks just
Mm-hmm.
so I could feel something.
Yeah.
And then I would see, these programs that I'd run, these men in the audience, their jaws would pop open. Okay, and that's
Mm.
interesting. Behind your jaw, you have two big attachment points to your vagus nerve. Your vagus nerve holds all your stress. Okay, it's a nervous system, but there's blockages in it, and if you can remove those blockages, then you can start connecting again. So their jaw pops open. Okay, and they say words, and I think they say they drop the F bomb,
Yeah.
or if they'll say bloody hell. I
Yeah.
thought I was
Okay.
the only one. I thought
Yes.
I was the only one.
Yes.
And it's at that point, that is the starting point of healing, the breaking the isolation that people feel. And you can pour all sorts of resources into a person. If they're feeling isolated, alone, not knowing who to trust, it's largely water off a duck's back. And
Yes.
understanding that, I could do more with 20 cents and a toothpick than millions of dollars misspent.
Mm. Community is so important. It's so important. I did not start thriving in my business the way that I wanted to until I got into business community. Even in my spiritual walk, community is important for me. No matter what I'm doing, I've learned that you need community. Community helps give you language for kind of what you're going through, kind of just like what you were saying. It helps you to even better understand yourself because you're almost looking in the mirror, right? Me too, right? So, yeah, I love that. I love that you just said that.
Well, I would put it to you that the version of Tequila who, let's say, isn't sleeping well would be
Yeah.
saying things like, you know what, community would be great if there wasn't so many people.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. 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 That's funny. So, Tim, what was the defining moment when, like, first of all, we've been having an amazing conversation. I've literally only asked you one question.
Okay.
It's so crazy. The first question that was just a general question, but I'm looking at the questions. I'm like, oh my god, we've been talking this whole time. But anywho, what was the defining moment when you realized that sleep and breath work were more powerful than some of our typical solutions that we use?
Sure. And it happened on two occasions. One in the dirt of Afghanistan, and 2, going through my own divorce.
Mm.
So breath work has this way of not just affecting your body, but also affecting your mind. Some might even call spirit. In
Mm.
fact, a lot of religions talk about breath and spirit and the creation of humans by the breath of God.
Absolutely.
Now, I didn't know that. And in the
Mhm.
dirt of Afghanistan, I just thought I was going to die. There's no point.
Yeah.
I got 2 cents worth of energy. I had young kids at home. They're not going to have a dad. I honestly thought I was going to die, right? And
Yeah. Yeah.
I trained for fatigue, right? I did my special forces selection. I was one of Australia's toughest guys, and outside the wire, it wasn't just physical fatigue. There was, you're not just away from family and loved ones. You're losing mates. You're seeing all sorts of crazy stuff happen. So there's a whole other level of
Mhm.
fatigue that I'd never experienced before. And I got so low, I'm like, what's the point? It's like you got 2 cents worth of energy. What's the point?
You're losing them, and you think you're gonna be next.
Yep. Yeah. Every step could be your last.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, I
and
can't. I can imagine.
we'll put it this way. I think I do believe that there is a spirit working through this. Um, I think I had to get my ass kicked so hard so I could, ask the question: is there a better way of doing life outside of Tim's only way of doing life? You know,
Mm.
and
Mm.
so in that moment of complete fatigue, I was open for the revelation that came, and that was it was like a thought in my head that said, Tim, if you've only got 2 cents worth of energy, you better invest that 2 cents wisely.
Mm.
And so we never got anything you'd call sleep. But when we got horizontal in the dirt, instead of just trying to close my eyes and rest, I would take the 2 cents that I had because I couldn't work any harder. But I'm like,
Yeah.
maybe I could
Yeah.
improve my sleep. And I don't know, this wasn't shown to me. I just pictured my left thumb and I pictured a tiny little pinhole in the tip of my left thumb. And I snorted through my nostrils, but I pretended I was drawing air down my thumb, like, and I could feel the air going down my thumb, and it didn't just feel good. It eventually, my thumb turned into white light. In my mind's eye, it's like a glowing white thumb as I'm breathing like this, and then I start breathing down my index finger and turn that into white light, and then I pass out, sleep, and the 2 cents turned into $2. And I
Mm.
realized energy's like money. How you invest it's how you get it back. It doesn't matter how much you have, it's how you invest it, right?
Oh, it's so good.
And then I'm like, okay, well, this seems, I don't know what's going on, but tonight, next time I get horizontal, I'll invest $2. So I invested, thumb, fingers, down my hand, up to my wrist, fell asleep, $2 turned into 20. And eventually I was able to do this thing, just massage the quality of my sleep, because again, I couldn't work any harder in the daytime. And there's plenty of people out there going, work harder, do this, do
Yeah.
that,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
eat more buckets of crap and smile, right? But I'm like, nah, man, let's go into the nighttime, improve our sleep. And sleep is what they call a universal lever. It's in the spectrum of life. If you want to improve everything, improve your sleep. If you want to destroy somebody, destroy their sleep. Okay.
Mm.
Again, not enough press has been given to this because if people start doing it, a lot of the crap that's outside of our own skin becomes redundant really quickly. All
Yeah.
right. That's another story. But so in
Yeah.
the dirt of
Yeah.
Afghanistan, I noticed that the more energy I had, the more awareness I had. Like when I had two
Right.
cents, I'm like,
Yeah.
stuff the planet. It's only me. And I got stuck in my own world. But as I got more and more energy, I became aware of those around me. And I said, well, it doesn't matter if I'm having a good day. If my team's having a bad day, I'm having a bad day. So I got to pour into them. And it literally came off the back of me doing breathing activities, going to sleep to
Hmm.
up my energy to then pour into those around me. Because who did I want around me when good times turn bad? Do I want disconnected, fatigued men, or do I wanted rested and connected, right?
Right. Yeah.
And so I get out of, the military in 2010. Uh, I go through a bit of a loop of my own undiagnosed PTSD. The doctors gave me a bunch of pills, and I lost many years of my life. And then when I started getting out of that, I started seeing there's a lot of other veterans stuck in the same place. And so I started working in the veteran recovery space in a more official capacity through certain charities. But, and I discovered that breath work was actually a thing. You know, Wim Hof, very popular breath worker. And I started getting into it like that. But then when I was going through my divorce, it was a COVID divorce, lost house, home, regular access to kids, all my money, sleeping on the couch at my parents' place. That was a very different war zone in my head. There wasn't any like physical threats per se, but you can bet that my nervous system was completely cooked.
Absolutely.
And the irony here is, and this is where the breakthrough was, I discovered in that moment that your mind's like a garden. Whatever you water grows.
Yes.
And I was watering the weeds of stress.
Yeah.
And those weeds of stress, they don't just take over the garden. Eyeballs start popping out of them, and they become sentient. They become very aware of the things that you do and choose that feed them, and very aware of the things that you do that starve them. You know, if you try and feed a good part of your brain, they'll go, nah, we're taking that. It's a bit like, you know, if before you do some form of physical activity, there's always a part of you going, let's not do this now, let's do this later, let's put it off, right? Let's don't do the thing.
Yeah.
That's the disempowered parts of us actually aware that if you were to become physically empowered, they're gone. Right? And they scream the loudest before they die, right? So there I was, 2 a.m. with all these stress weeds, loving the fact that I was unable to down-regulate. And I knew inside my head that breath work would give me the peace I'm looking for. But do you think I could do it with all those stress weeds taking over the garden? Absolutely not. And I got up and I'm about to do alcohol, pills, self-harm, maybe all three. And I'm like, Tim, and I look at my left thumb, Tim, you can take one breath, take one effing breath. And I drove it into my chest and I went, and it was like taking the first deep breath out of the deepest, darkest ocean. I'm like, this is working, take two. I took a second finger and drove it into my chest. Okay, good. Take three. So finger after finger, breath after breath. Okay, you've got to 5, get to 10. And then somewhere, Tequila, between breath 15 and 25, the body and the chemical reactions of breath kicked out all those stress weeds. And the rest of my brain came online saying, Tim, thank goodness you kicked those guys out. This is working. Don't stop.
Yeah.
And I am 100% sure there's another version of reality where Tim hit the alcohol, drugs, self-harm on that night. But on that version of reality, I chose to breathe, and I put this tear in the fabric of time and space with about 20 breaths. And it made me realize, or ask the question, how many other people are in those states and they don't have an option other than something outside of them, like that's readily available, and they're quite happy to give it to you. Anyone can buy alcohol over a certain age. And I thought, well, okay, this breath work works, but it does seem to need to be guided. You know, it's hard to do it on your own when you need it the most. So I started making these stupid breathwork tracks with my own voice saying, hey, Tim, breathe in, breathe out. And, you know, if it's stupid and it works, it ain't stupid. And it just kept working. I shared it with my friends, you know, and it worked for them. And then I thought, well, it's good that it's working to go to sleep, but I think it'd be really good if we could do stuff getting out of bed too, because a lot of people struggle to get out of bed. And that's when I discovered, like, the body's state is affected by the 5 minutes going to sleep and 5 minutes waking up. So if we can have guided breathwork going to sleep and guided breathwork waking up, those two little wins have a massive impact on our whole state of being. And so I started, you know, having this work, and I started doing workshops. But then And everything I do to kill it has to run off what's called 3 Ps. Military love acronyms. I call it my P test, just to be funny, right? Everything I do has to be powerful, positive, but the last P is most important, permanent. Okay, because if we say we care about people, it's got to work when we're there. It's got to work when we're not there. The next day, the next week, the next year. And I did this workshop and I got this email from this very high-ranking Army officer saying, best workshop ever. We had guys that hadn't slept in over 5 years saying they got a good night's sleep. It was good when you're there, but what have you got when you're not there?
Yes.
And I'm like, I'm failing my P test. I'm not permanent. And so I withdrew from public life for about 2 years, spent about 50 grand creating breathwork in bed. A tool that meets people where they are when they need it the most. So I only do things like if I'm going to sleep, I'm like, go away world, I just want to sleep. So if it's easy and effortless, like if I see like a little reminder there that I can tap and press play on, that's easy for me in those states. And so the breathwork in bed simply asks you when you want to sleep, when you want to wake up, and then it just falls out. You don't have to touch it after that. It just falls out of the phone, little reminder, you just tap it, press play, and you get easy access at the times you need it the most, with your breath. And that was my attempt at permanency. Yeah.
Love that. Oh, that was so good. All right, so we're gonna flip the mic and give you an opportunity to ask me a question.
Oh, I've been waiting for this moment.
You seem way too excited.
You don't know what I'm going to ask yet. Have a drink of water.
Yeah, what are you gonna ask me? You get to ask me a question.
Do you have a beverage next to you?
I do, kinda. It's far, I mean, it's next to me, but it's not like reachable.
Okay. Well,
I took a drink
I know you've had a
before.
big day, and I know
I
you've
did.
pushed out a few, once, but and fatigue we can't always control, but we can control hydration levels. So here's a fun fact: 80% of all daytime fatigue is related to hydration levels, and then the body confuses that for hunger. All right. So whenever you're tired, say, "Okay, I'm tired," but just drink plenty of water.
Yeah.
As they say in the military, pee white, ready to fight.
Yeah. Well, I did take a nice drink before I got on here. So yeah, I'm good.
All right. So the question I want to ask you, Tequila, is that I am really fascinated, not so much in what you do, but what you've come through. And that, to me, is the most value that I get from how they've overcome an obstacle or their lowest point. So I always ask, I don't need to know necessarily in detail your lowest point, but what did you do to get yourself out of your lowest point? You can speak as much or as little about your lowest point as you like, but I'd love to know the things you did to get out of that place to essentially get to where you are now.
I'll talk about I've had a few what felt like my lowest points. You have those moments where it's like, I don't think I can go any lower than this. But one of my recent lowest points, it was a couple of years ago. Maybe it feels like a couple of years ago, but it may have been last year or something like that. Anyway, I was ready to quit, like ready to just stop my business, get a job, and just, because being an entrepreneur is not for the weak. Okay. And so I'm in this coaching program where we talked about community. And I had so it had to be 2 years ago. I had just become a part of kind of the elite status in this program. So it's a worldwide program. And so only a select few people get to the highest level. And so even though my stats were good, I still didn't feel like I was making progress, right? So I was entering my stats weekly, and that's what allowed me to become a part of the kind of higher level of the group. But I was still feeling like almost defeated because I wasn't where I wanted to be, right? So in the program, you get to set your levels of what, like, the goals you want to achieve. And so I was reaching those goals because before, I had been in the program for a few years, and I had my stats too high, and so I was never gonna reach them. But I was like shooting for the stars, right? And so I put them more of at a realistic level, and I started reaching them, and I was like, this is still not what I want. And so I was like, I still probably should just quit. And so got on the coaching call. This was my probably my first or second time on this particular call. I had been on some other ones, and it's a group call. And I don't know what she asked me. I don't know what we were talking about, but she handed me the mic, and I like spilt my guts on there. I don't think I could do this. I think I need to quit. I don't have enough funds coming in. I'm not getting enough leads. Like, I just threw it all up. And that probably was the best thing I did for myself, because right then I got the support that I needed. She told me I needed to take my individual coaching calls to weekly instead of I was doing them monthly. And then she told me that some of the other people that were on the call, they were like sending me messages inside the Zoom chat. Hey, let's talk. I was just there. Oh, I'm like right past where you are. Right. I mean, just so many encouraging words from my community. You're talking about community. So that's how I was able to get over that hump, is community. And so going to those monthly group coaching calls with the elite team has been such a blessing for me, because it's a me too thing. Like, you don't feel like you're alone. Our coach, like, one of the things she did, not in March, but not in April, but in March, she just had each of us get on there and say, what do you need right now? What do you need? We all went around the room, the Zoom room, and said what it is that we need. And it was people inside the Zoom that had what we needed. Right. And so some people was like, I need more organization in my life. I got clients from that. Right. Because, they needed that. Somebody said they needed help with their podcast. Somebody was on there that does. So being in community has been so powerful for me. And I will never not be in community with anything that I'm trying to accomplish. I'm always going to make sure that I have community. That's why I go to church. That's why I'm on this in this business group. That's why I create community for my listeners and my clients. I have an online community for them, for the Me Too. Right. So yeah, that's it.
So if I'm hearing you right, you felt lost, alone, hopeless,
Mm-hmm.
but when you spoke to those feelings, you
Yeah.
revealed, you were letting yourself be open, vulnerable, humble enough to express what was there for you on the other side of that unknown, unfamiliar, possibly scary place of you actually saying all the crap that's going on that nobody knew about.
Yeah.
You had this wonderful response from your community of wanting to get
Yes.
closer to you.
Yes. That's exactly right. And you literally was just talking about that. Like, you just said everything that you just repeated yourself from what you said earlier. That was me. And that's why I made the comment after you said that community is so important to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing we can't handle when we feel connected. And
Yes.
and I put it to anybody, the only time we struggle is when we feel disconnected.
Yes. And alone.
Disconnected from ourselves, disconnected
Mm-hmm.
from others.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, and I think it's a bit of a silent epidemic these
Mm.
days. Like the current, um,
Well, COVID showed us that.
yeah, yeah. Like we've never lived in an age where we can be all together, but then completely isolated.
Ugh.
I don't envy the kids growing up these days that can have access to self-isolating phones. Your vision only goes maybe as far as your hand.
Yeah.
You're not expanding your vision, expanding your
No.
connections. Isolate and conquer. And if you really want to go, I'm obviously ex-military. I see things from military precision and planning.
Absolutely.
Rome didn't conquer the world with its military. Yes, it had a strong military. Rome conquered the world with its roads. Okay,
Mm.
access is everything. So, and roads in an area certainly helped improve local economy and help them and their movement. But when Rome wanted to impose its will on an area, then
Mm.
that's where the access was, right?
Mm.
And so here's the thing: these kids today, the phones that we have, we're giving them access. We're putting
Yeah.
roads into the deepest parts of ourselves. The algorithm knows us, right? And it can be helpful if you want to reach 10 people with one text. If you want to, we look at us having this conversation on other sides of the planet, and I can hear
Yes.
you straight away. You know,
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
the distance doesn't dilute the Australian accent.
Or the St. Louis accent, because that's a thing too.
So there are good things about it, but nobody is gonna have you making empowered decisions if you don't do it for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And the first thing an enemy will do is deliberately fatigue you so you're not thinking. And the world we currently live in tends to attack our sleep. And
Mm.
without going down a rabbit warren, let's just say if you had a group of people that weren't sleeping properly, would they be more easily manipulated? Would they buy stuff they didn't need? Would they believe
That's what
stuff
they
they
do in the
shouldn't?
middle of the night when they're scrolling and
Yeah,
not sleeping.
yeah.
They're
There's a
buying
there's a
things that
reason
they don't need.
there's a reason why people buy steak knives at 1 o'clock in the morning from those stupid
Right.
ads on TV. Yes, I want a knife that cuts through a shoe. Yeah, because that's what I need to feel complete.
Ah.
You know, um,
I tell my listen, those sites, they just defeat the purpose of everything that I do and try to accomplish with my clients. Just buying those cheap things, feeling like they're saving money when they're actually wasting money, wasting
hmm
space, wasting time, wasting energy. So, anywho, that's a what did you call it? A rabbit? What did you call it? Not a, I
Rabbit
call
Warren.
it a rabbit. What?
Warren.
A rabbit warren. I call it a rabbit hole.
Right. Right.
But Tim, I want to ask you one last question, and then I'll let you go because we've been talking for a long time. I think I asked you only 3 questions. Uh, but why do you believe? Because I service a lot of high performing people, and that's who listen to this podcast. That's my audience. Why do you believe so many high performers actually deal with a recovery problem and not a productivity problem?
Yeah, yeah. So when I'm putting my corporate hat on, and firstly, they love my work because um, sleep deprived people take twice as many sick days. So if you want to cut your sick days in half, improve sleep quality in your staff members. All right, and it's not just
Mm.
absenteeism; it's presenteeism. Okay, when someone's there and is sleep deprived, they're 30 to 40% less productive than their
Yes.
colleagues. And if you stretch that out over a timeline, and then workplace accidents are all increased. In
Yes.
in America right now, there's over 100,000 car accidents every year that's deliberately attributed to fatigue. So, when you're
Mm.
driving, a cop might pull you over and you're blown to a bag to see if you've got alcohol in your system, but no one's testing for fatigue, you know?
No. I used to drive home at night when I worked. Well, I used to drive home in the morning when I worked overnight. Um, I don't even know how many times I almost killed myself.
Oh, no, it's so scary. In I'm glad you're here. I'm
I
always
know.
really
Like, I
frightened
am
when I
too.
hear
Like,
stories like that.
literally wake up. And I was like, oh, I was asleep. It was
Yeah.
terrible.
That, and the scariest thing is it happens so easily, right? And we seem to live in a
Mm-hmm.
culture that encourages this stuff, you
Yes.
know, right? So this is what I'm saying. You care about somebody, you care about how they sleep. So, um,
Mm-hmm.
but again, I don't want to tangent away from your question. So I'm going to put my corporate hat on. So when I'm
Oh,
talking to my corporates, I say, think of your performance like a pyramid. Top of
okay.
the pyramid, you're achieving what you want in the outside world. Targets, growth, money, accomplishments. But the bottom of the pyramid, not as obvious, is your rest, recovery, and healing art forms. And the people that understand that
Mm-hmm.
are the ones that don't age like everyone else ages.
Mm.
Because as we age, we can still perform at very, very high levels. But what we need to do is widen and specialize in our rest, recovery, and healing,
Mm-hmm.
i.e., high quality sleep. Because I noticed when people aren't aware of the performance pyramid and that rest, recovery, and healing is a massive part of that, then you start hearing words like, oh, I hate my job. I used to love it. You know, you're over the hill at 30. You're over the hill at 40. You're definitely over the hill at 50. Okay, I turned 53 this year, right? And I didn't, and to be honest, the only thing I can't do that I used to do in my 20s is sprint. My 21-year-old son reminds me that, you know, I can't sprint as fast, you know, but when it comes to lifting, I still fight, all
Yeah.
those sorts of things. That is because I was aware of this performance pyramid. It's not what you do at work that gives you performance. It's what you do away from work.
Mm-hmm.
It's not what you
Mm-hmm.
do at the gym that gives you all your gains. It's what you do away from the gym. And when you
Mm-hmm.
can see it like that, it's just that, and it's kind of obvious when I spell it out like that, but there's a reason why people don't see it and they're a little stuck where they are. And if you're ready for this, I'm about to drop something.
Okay, I'm ready.
When you're at war with somebody, you have to find their center of gravity.
Mm.
And once you know what that center of gravity is and you attack it, you can off center them. It could be an area that they're used to roaming free. And if you can
Mm.
deny them that movement, then they've lost their power,
Yeah.
right? Now, our center of gravity as humans, and this is just an offering, this is my perception of it, our center of gravity as humans is our sense of self worth,
Ah.
okay? And as humans, we can attach that sense of self worth to what we do, to what we have,
Yes.
to how we compare ourselves to others.
Absolutely.
All right, so this is the top of the pyramid, the obvious in the outside world. Everyone sees what we do in the outside world, and if we've attached our sense of self worth to what we do, I'm really something when I do that.
Mm-hmm.
But if we're doing nothing, then I feel like nothing because I'm doing
Mm.
nothing. Maybe I
Mm.
am nothing. No, 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 let's just get busy again. And this is why people flog themselves so hard to achieve certain things in the external world. This is why sleep is so undervalued because they have their most central part of their being, their sense of self-worth attached outside of them. And you can't even think like that. You can't access the executive function if you're sleep deprived. You just go, well, this is what everyone else is doing. I'm going to do that. But if you can actually step above the game, you're not just going to be, you know, productive and powerful through your 30s, 40s, 50s. You are going to know that it is me that gives me my sense of self-worth. Before I leave this door, there's nothing wrong with getting the car, getting the income, having the graph going up, getting profitable. But before I leave the house, I'm the one giving myself the peace. I'm the one
Mm.
giving myself the sense of self-worth. I'm the one giving myself the power, not the car, not the income, not the partner.
Mm-hmm.
This
Mm-hmm.
is me. This is me, right? And so what I'm talking to here is a highly disruptive piece of technology that if we can actually give ourselves these things, then we are no longer subject to the fatiguing idea that we've got to have these things before we feel like we're worth something.
Yeah, yeah. That's so good. Okay, Tim.
There's a lot there, wasn't there? You did
That
well. You've done
was.
so well. You've had a big day and you've had this crazy
Yeah,
Aussie on and talking about all this stuff.
it's been great. I can't wait to watch it because when I'm in the moment, it's so different than going back and watching it. I love watching my podcast. I know it's crazy, but
No, I
anywho,
get it. You are the organizer here, and you have a certain structure you want it to flow on,
yeah,
and that's king energy, right?
yeah,
But me, I'm part magician, right? So I love being in this moment. I can feel this moment. And
yeah,
that's why it gives me a bit of joy to throw you off center a little bit. You only
yeah.
asked one or two questions, and we just had a lot of fun with it, you know.
We did. We did. I think we got more information with just those one or two than we would have with even some of the other ones. I think the foundation of this conversation was very grounded, and I love it.
Well, look, I am. Here's my request. I'm going to make a request.
Okay.
I would love to gift you and everyone listening 28 days free of the Breathwork in Bed app.
Oh.
The very thing that's going to give you amazing 5 minutes of wonderful breath work going to sleep. That'll turn your bed into a cloud literally tonight. And then an amazing wake up experience where you connect to your body first, powerful connections inside of yourself lead to powerful connections outside of yourself. And so
That's awesome.
my request, and anyone can access it, you just, open your phone, download Breathwork in Bed. And my request of you, Tequila, is you take on the 28-day Breathwork in Bed challenge, where you tell this thing when you want to sleep, when you want to wake up, and you give breathwork a go for 28 days, and we actually do this again in about a month.
Okay.
Yeah, so we can actually see if all this stuff this Aussie was talking about would
Right.
actually stack up.
It's Ozzy. Yeah. I love that. That sounds great. I'll definitely do that. And we'll make sure you guys have it just said the breathwork. It's just called the breathwork app.
Breathwork in bed. Yeah,
Breathwork
those
in bed.
like breakfast in bed. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'll do that. And you guys join me, okay? Tim, that's great. I was just gonna ask you, was there anything else you would like to tell the Organized Life listeners, what you're up to? Anything else you would like to share with us before we go?
No, my stand is for everyone listening to generously give the gifts they have inside of themselves. And that only happens from creating that internal abundance. I can't do what you do, Tequila, or anyone that's listening. But if I can help you get an amazing night's sleep consistently, then the version of you that's in the world is going to be the one that's bringing the gifts out so much more generously. Generosity is a really good sign of someone's balanced energy levels. Conversely, what's the opposite to generosity? We say stingy in Australia. What would you say in the US?
Stingy.
Stingy. Okay, righto. Universal term. You got stingy
Yep.
people over there too, do you?
Yes, we do. We do. Yep. We do. That's hilarious. Okay. Well, Tim, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for this amazing conversation. To the Organized Life listeners, if you would like to be a guest here on the podcast, send me an email we have a new email. So I know you guys are used to Extreme Audacity, but we have rebranded to the Organized Life. So send us an email at at support at the Organized Life headquarters.com. I'll make sure that it's in the description. If you have a question for us, if you'd like to be a guest here, send us an email there. If you are doing anything, if you're organizing or trying to make something work better for you, make sure it's saving you in all four areas: your space, time, energy, and money. If not, go ahead and tweak it. revisit it, see what's working, do more of that. What's not working, do less of it, And until next time, ciao.